Good morning, all. How are we?
Good. How are you?
Oh, doing well.
Great.
Sorry delay getting on here, guys. We were finishing up another call with our regional leadership and our new OP, so it was kind of an interesting morning. So,
How did that OP thing go yesterday?
Fridays went pretty good. We had a good turnout with 20 people or so were here, which is weird seeing that many people in the market center. I miss that because the energy of the collective agent is fantastic. So we love seeing that. It was insightful. I think she's going to bring a lot of value because of her tie-ins and connection with trainings. So Kristen Cole Network is a massive organization within Keller Williams, and she teaches classes all the time. So there's classes she teaches like for growth and expansion, team building. One class I'm interested in taking of hers is what they call Quantum Leap. It's a mindset course. It's actually designed to be like a massive improvement in skills and abilities. And that's coming up soon. And because of her ownership of us, like her partnership with our market center, we have access to those classes for free.
Is that just you or is that everybody?
No, us as Keller Williams, Southern Arizona.
Nice.
Yeah, which
Awesome.
is great. That's a huge value. And those classes are typically, if they're Zoom based, $150 to $500 a person, which I think is pretty fantastic for us to have that ability to get in there. So great things. How was the weekends?
It was good. Took Saturday off, tried to not think about real estate per day. And then Sunday is our new Monday. So we started getting ready for our plan and stuff and our 401s and stuff that we want to accomplish this week.
Nice.
Saturday, I worked on my contacts and adding people to my smart plan and writing out cards and doing calls because I had a very busy week between my mom's birthday and baking and having to deal with my husband's company. So I used Saturday for catch up.
Saturday's a catch up day. Jennifer, how was your weekend? Let's recap.
I hired on my 15-year-old daughter to be my assistant and help me handwrite a ton of postcards and handwritten things, cards to drop off. We're going to try to do 20 a day. We made little goodie bags full of chocolate and some with candles that said, "Hey neighbor, hope this brightens your day." Kind of if you need anything. So we've got my entire kitchen counter and table full of little goodie bags that we're going to start dropping off 20 a day.
That's awesome. I love that the candle thing. I hope this brightens your day. That's great.
Yeah.
All right, Mr. Keep, let's hear from you, Joseph.
Dollar store
gifts. I love them. They work. Joey.
What's the question? Sorry.
How was your weekend? How are we at on things?
Good. Made some calls. Yeah.
You had nothing else to say? Manage few words. I got to pull down did you guys got all the presentation this morning that Kayla sent out? Solid. So
I didn't get it.
You didn't get it?
No. Was I supposed to register for tonight, by the way? I don't know.
No, we didn't really have a registration. What we do is we actually have an attendance log that we keep that has everyone's email on it. I thought you were on it. Well,
she sent it out. I didn't get it. Unless it went to like junk mail or something.
Which email do you want me to send it to?
At KW.
All right, forward it. Jennifer. I only got a Gmail saved in my computer, so tell me your email. So, is it Jennifer?
J Richie?
All right.
No, it's just J and then at kw.com.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Let me know if you got it. I just sent it again right now. Perfect. Okay. Did you get it?
Horrible service. So I'm trying to
Horrible
refresh.
service.
Horrible.
Horrible. So.
Come on.
Well, so little win of mine from the weekend. Same thing as Jennifer was doing the little pop by gifts. I sent out ornaments this year. I do almost every year. This year it was doors, and the theme was opening doors for 2021 and stuff like that. And all around, and every ornament I had a little customized message on per client, and those started hitting mailbox this weekend. So I got a lot of people. Hey man, thank you so much for the ornament. It's awesome. And hey, that was so cute. So people that didn't engage before are starting to engage back. So those things really help. And I think it cost me $3 per person, $5 maybe with shipping. It's $1 for the ornament. That I bought the markers that I use on all of them in the shipping. So pretty awesome little investment to grow. And it's definitely one of the best things you can invest in is giving of value. It doesn't have to be something corporeal, and meaning corporeal, I mean something tangible, that's a word, something tangible that you can give and monetize. But it could just be a phone call. It could just be a handwritten letter or a text message. Hey, just want you to know I'm thinking about you. These are all things that really do help solidify relationships as well as bring people back in the fold. So I love that we've got some ideas going out there. People doing door knocking, people doing pop buys, farming your neighborhood. These are all great ideas to help build your business. And speaking of building your business, today we're going to discuss the importance of having a daily structure in the life of a real estate agent. And none only than the amazing Emily Erickson is here to show us the way. Good morning, Miss Emily. How are you?
Good morning. I'm sorry I was late. Thank you for covering, Big Dan.
No, it's all good. You know me, I like to talk.
All in the day of the life of, that structured schedule that we have sometimes gets detailed by clients and things like that. So,
you guys missed it last month. She was dressed up in costume, and I was really hoping to see her again in it. But
I actually was going to do that, and yeah, day in the life. And I went on a sister's weekend this weekend, and I got home way too late, and I couldn't curl the hair and put on my Marvel costume, but it was awesome last month, guys. If you want to be a superhero to your clients, you dress up as a superhero. No, don't dress up as a superhero when visiting clients. But all right, so hoping I can I share my screen, Dan?
Kayla, can you give her a host access? I have the bail off here soon.
Yes, sorry, you should have it now, Emily.
Awesome, thanks. So real quick, will everyone just introduce me to you and let me know who you are and how long you've been in the business, if you've done any deals, where you are at, don't know why my light just went off, that sort of thing, just so I can see who we have in the room.
My name is Steven. Me and my wife Desiree, that's also on this, our husband and wife team. We just started with Keller Williams and real estate in general. We're just working through all the course and stuff, trying to do contacts and making phone calls on our database and starting to build that up now.
Everything in command?
Yeah, everything's going into command.
Perfect, good. And you both were licensed when?
Very recently. Me within like a couple weeks and her like a month or so.
Awesome, great, awesome, welcome. Letha.
My name's Letha Gonzalez. I've been in real estate about 1.5 years. I started with a really small company that just kind of threw me in there and said sink or swim. And I've had about 12 sales so far. And I changed over to Keller Williams because the education aspect of things, I felt I'm still new, at 1.5 years. And with no additional training, I really thought it was great what they offer. So.
It is, it's awesome. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Joseph.
I've been with Keller Williams probably a couple months. I haven't sold anything. Just here to learn.
Awesome, great. Jennifer.
Sorry, I tried to unmute myself. I got my license about a month ago, and
You're breaking up for some reason. I'm sorry. I can't hear you very well.
deals yet. Mostly just
Yeah,
farming.
she
and
usually has really
marketing
bad
and
Wi-Fi.
Learning.
Okay. All right. Awesome. So just a little bit about me.
Really bad service. Can you hear me? I have one bar.
No, it's actually kind of hard, but maybe put in the chat just a little bit about you, and that'll help me in just a minute. So just a little bit about me. My husband and I are a team, and he got licensed in December of 17. I was licensed in January of 18, so a lot like Stephen and Desiree. And oh, we have someone else coming on, a couple more people. Great, welcome. So we've been in it. I'm just finishing up my 4th year. I have to renew in February. We were Rookie of the Year the first year. So my husband's background was chemical engineering, and he has an MBA, and he came to me in November and said, I'm going to give all this up, dear, and I'm going to give away my 6-figure salary, and I'm going to become a realtor. And my mouth, my jaw broke, and I went, really? How's my life going to change? Because I don't want my paycheck to change. And I was a stay-at-home mom that did personal training for the last 15 years. And I had a good side hustle, but I couldn't, I don't pull in 6 figures. So he promised nothing would change. And he said, well, we'll just work off our savings until we start making deals. And I said, okay, so you're going to make 6 figures this first year. And he's like, yeah, I'm going to make 6 figures this first year. And I went, okay, great, because I have an engineer as a husband who's not a salesman, who doesn't do sales. He's an analytic, awesome nerd. I love him. And he's very consistent. And so I'm like, great, good. So he did Ignite in, I want to say January or February. And we had our first deal in April, and by December we had done I want to say it was right around 5 million in sales. So he had his 6 figures that year. We've done the same thing or a little bit better every year since, and this year has been our best year ever. We hit our last year goal of 6 million in August, and we'll end the year around 9 million. So, I mean, we're not huge megas, but we make a good living, and he's diversified into investments, and he does now more investments, land deals, and some wholesale deal kind of things on that end. And then I do more of the buyers and sellers. He does quite a few because he gets realtor referrals all the time. And that's one thing I love about Keller Williams, is that we get agent referrals. I think probably 30%, if I'm remembering correctly, of my deals this year came from agents out of state. Did they know me? They only knew me because of my numbers. So I'm really buyer heavy this year, and I'm on the ALC, and I've done bold every year since we've been here, and the 3 times it was offered this year, I did bold. So those are things that people look at on your agent profile when they're looking for an agent to send people to. So how many listings, how many sellers, that sort of thing. So it's been a great, we haven't been in any other brokerage besides Keller Williams. I always say that I chose Keller because my favorite color is red, and Eric chose Keller because he loved the education. So here we are. Any questions for me at this point, or anyone want to pick a brain at this minute? Otherwise we'll go into the PowerPoint on a day in the life of a realtor. Heather and Walter, will you just give me a little info about you before I go into it? Who you are, how long you've been in the biz, if you have any current deals in the pipeline for this year.
Hi, I am a new agent. I've been with Keller Williams, I guess, about a month now.
Okay.
I don't have any deals yet. I've been a stay-at-home mom for the last 14 years, and I'm an Air Force spouse, so we've moved a few times.
Gotcha. Just a few.
Just a few. Well, really, actually, just a few. We spent 9 years in Albuquerque.
Oh,
So
nice. Good. Great.
we call it the
Walter,
land of entrapment.
Yes,
what about you? Let me know.
I've been with Keller Williams for about 2.5 years.
Okay.
Currently, I have a listing that I'm putting back on the market. I have a listing I have a listing appointment this week with a past client, and I have 3 working buyers.
Nice. Awesome. Perfect. Well, great. Well, I hope everyone has made their business plan for this next year, that you guys have some really strong goals. And we're going to hit into the day in the life of an agent here. I'm going to bring the PowerPoint up if I can share real quick here. All right, here we go. I tend to go through things quickly. So if I talk too fast or if you have questions, I love interaction. So if we get down a rabbit hole, that's okay. We'll get back to the slides. So if you need to pick my brain or anything like that, that's fine. So what successful agents do every day. So we grow our business and we run our business. So hopefully you're growing your business in the morning from about 9 to noon-ish, 9 to 11. It just depends on how you time block. So time blocking is the biggest and most important thing you can do in your life. So that is one of those things we'll get talking to about a little bit later, but we lead generate for buyers and sellers. We make seller listing presentations and get listings, buyer presentations, get buyer listings, and we preview real estate. So if there's nothing else to do, you're out looking at what's currently on the market, if you can get into it in the appropriate way. We run our business. So we market our listings, we show buyers houses, we negotiate contracts, transition management if you don't have a TC, vendor management, set goals, compliance, attend trainings, manage money. If you're not looking at your money every day, or at least your goals for your money or what you're spending on, that's something that you definitely want to get into the habit of is, was that an A, B, or C purchase? A, I had to have it. It definitely has to go with the business. B, it was kind of one, or C, it was just frivolous and I wasted $500 on some leads that got me nowhere. So you just have to kind of watch your money. What you focus on expands. So if you're watching your money, hopefully it'll make babies and expand. So this is just kind of our map for today, how we're going to go through our day. And hopefully we'll have a good day after this. And hopefully you'll get something from it. So people do not decide their futures, they decide their habits, and their habits decide their futures. You can make if you haven't seen the form, there's a form that Keller Williams has. You get it through Bold, but anyone would share it with you. It's just the 66-day tracker. It takes about 66 days to make that lovely goal or that habit work. And you can make that happen in any part of your life. So this morning, I'm on day 14 of brush your teeth and do your makeup wash routine at the same time so that I still look like I'm 25 when I'm 65. So, you can make it about anything if it's not about your business, but obviously we want some business goals in there too. One of my business goals was to hire a coach this year, and I had my first coaching session this last month. So definitely make some habits, make some goals.
I'm on that same wash your face, brush your teeth thing. Way to go, Emily.
Yes, I know. I
want to look 25 as well.
I can put my face mask on and brush my teeth for the 2 minutes my face mask is supposed to be on. So yay.
You look great. I look old. Congratulations.
I did find out though, Jay, there's this thing called frownies on Amazon right now. You smack them on your forehead at night and you don't have wrinkles in the morning. And granted, you have to do it every single day at night, but
there you go. Perfect.
It's Botox in a box that's not Botox. So there you go.
Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt your thing. Good job.
Rabbit hole. Okay. So what my day typically looks like, and this changes. Sometimes it changes day to day, but my lead generation is typically in the morning, 8:30 to 11:30, have lunch, run the business in the afternoon, grow the business. That's when I'm going to be doing client events. That's when I'm going to be doing client presentations via Zoom so that I can encourage my database to come visit me. So like in January, I have an event where I have a CPA coming telling about new tax laws in 2021, best ways to get their taxes done in 2021. He's inviting his database. I'm inviting my database. They have to register. So hopefully I get some new registrations from his side, and then I get to add them to my database. But that's how you can grow some different activities. Am I doing that every single week, that presentation? No, it's more of this is the way that I am doing my presentations or my client events in COVID land, because I can't go and bring 30 people into a room. So you just have to figure out good ways to touch your database, grow your database. And those are the growing activities that you can do in the afternoon, evenings. You definitely want to review your calendar for the next day. Make sure you're doing something the next day. Your 411, what does that look like? And then of course, not everyone has a family, but I do. And so we have family time in the evenings. Dinner is always a super important thing to me for my family. And connecting with my kids who don't live at home anymore. So I have 2 kids that are in college or doing adulting in their own ways. And luckily they are adulting in their own ways. And then I have a child at home still. That one comes up a lot. So 411s, what have you guys learned about 411s? Are you doing 411s yet? What is a 411? Whoever can answer this question successfully, I do have a gift card for you. I am not a person who doesn't mind.
It's a way to achieve the big goal by breaking it down smaller to be able to see it. And yes, we're doing it.
Yep, that's part of it. Yeah, breaks the big goal down. How often do we do a 411?
Monthly.
Yep, it's monthly and it's added on weekly because we have 4 weeks, correct? And you fill out 1 week at a time so that you don't just fill out all 4 weeks, so that if things change or move or go around. Does anyone not have a 411 or know what a 411 is? Because we went through it really, really quick, but just want to make sure how we're feeling on that one. Okay, so it does look like the screen here. This is what a typical 411 looks like. So your annual goal stays at the top. Monthly goal is here, and then your weekly goals get broken down here. So in my 411, I have several different goals. So I have my business goal, my job goal, personal goal, educational goal. So I have several different things in my 411 that you can put. It doesn't have to be just a business goal. And then you enter your weekly goals. So they do have this on the KW, your KW website, or not the website, but anyway, the login, the back office there. So if you haven't found a 411 action goal sheet, it is really great to fill out on Sunday night, so you know what you're going to do that next week. My DTD2 is in there, so whatever letters I'm going to be calling that week. So I know exactly who I'm going to call. I don't have to guess. I don't have to waste time in the morning of, okay, who are the 20 people I'm going to contact today? It's already there. I already know what I'm doing. Any questions on a 411 or how to be more effective in your 411s? I think there's probably I think you guys have probably had an Ignite Day on 411s in general, but so this was back from October, because I taught this class in October, but this is the one that I use on my wall because I like to see it very visual. So this was this is my GPS. So this is for the entire year. So the left side of my whiteboard is the entire year. The right side of my goal is my 401. So the annual goal up here, the job, business, personal finance, personal growth, that doesn't change. My monthly goals, those are things that change, and it's usually dependent on the strategies that I have on the left-hand side. And then the first week is the DTD2, what alphabet letters am I calling that week? And then the other things that go down. And then every week I put it in that. And then the right side is the 411 side. So I do it very visually because I'm a visual learner. And then I take a picture of it each week and I put it on my phone. And so my phone, I think it's really bad when I don't think you can see it very well, but let's see here, stop share for a second. I don't think, you can't see it very well. But anyway, on my phone, on my thing is my new one for 2021. So I keep my GPS on my phone so that I can see it all the time, knowing how things are changing, things like that. So whatever works for you on a 411 GPS, make it whatever works for you. So again, I have to be very, very visual. I also keep a copy of it in my, I have a nice printed off copy of it in my work bag. because I was in a class one time and someone said, who can show me their GPS for this year? And I have my GPS on one side and my 411 on the other side. And I think I got like a $25 gift certificate or something like that kind of silly thing. But you need to have it everywhere you go, because if you don't know where you're going, you're definitely not going to get there. So that's kind of the thing. So part of that is committing to the 80-20 principle. This is a pattern of predictability. So it makes life run very well. So 20% of your effort gets 80% of your results. So big rocks. So in that, you have to set objectives. You have to translate your weekly goal into daily goals. They have to be timely, identifiable, metric driven, attainable, purposeful. They have to be super specific. That's one thing I've had to work on this year, is to make a time and a place and a date when this is supposed to hit. If I don't do that, it's just kind of one of those, it's a wish, it's a hope, it's a dream. It's not, if you don't have, we're all procrastinators. And so when we come up to that deadline, we're going to work harder to get that goal. So coming up with those deadlines, making sure that all of that is becoming a part of that, is definitely needs a time on that. So what are some of the goals that you guys are setting up for yourselves for 2021? Anyone have any goals in December that you're working towards, that seem to be either on their way or just trying to develop that habit? I mean, they can be small goals. It doesn't have to be, I'm going to make $1 million in GCI this month. But anybody have some goals that they're working towards?
We're in the process of remodeling our house, and I'm wanting it to be finished before Christmas.
Nice. Awesome. That's a great goal. Hopefully that will happen for you. I know I can always, every project I've done in my house, I'm like, I've had to do it twice as long, but that's awesome.
We've got the windows and the doors changed out. We've got the new roof on. So now it's paint inside. Now we got the majority of the inside painted. We still have to paint the kitchen, paint the outside, and do the flooring. We're done.
That's awesome. Congratulations. That's a big, huge project. Anybody else have any goals in December, business or otherwise? And do you have times on them?
One of our main goals is just getting used to setting the 411, and we're like you, we're very visual. We have a board as well. We're trying to figure it out, and it's starting very cluttered, but at the same time, with moving on and listening to everybody, we're realizing that you have to do the 20% is the most important to get the 80% out of it. So we're modifying it, trying to create a habit out of the 411s and figuring out how to like see what you're talking about, like the timetable inside of it, because it still just feels like it's kind of all over the place right now. So that's our main goal for the next several months, mainly.
Yeah, simplifying it down to what the big rocks are, identifying those and what those actually mean for your big rocks. So yeah, you can put that big rock lead gen in and you're like, lead gen, yeah, I'm gonna do that for 2.5 hours. But what the hell does that actually mean? What am I gonna do for 2.5 hours when I don't have any deals going and I don't know who to call, and so on and so forth. For me, I detest the phone. I am the realtor that will do anything to get out of a phone call. I'd rather plan a party, do an event, social media. I'd rather do anything else in the world besides phone calls. And my husband will attest to that. My husband is on the phone like clockwork almost all day long. But I come up with different ways to do my lead gen because I'm not going to do that. So I've formed sports groups. I've formed women's groups. I've formed kids groups. I've formed other groups that know that I'm going to show up there and I'm going to talk to 10 or 15 different ladies. Even in COVID times, we've changed it a little bit. So there's smaller groups and things, but my lead gen is very people oriented. It's going to be not on my phone. If it is, it's going to be a text, and I'm going to, there's a great text app called Reach that you can put your, all your contacts in pretty easily. It takes a little bit to set it up. But after that, it texts from your number. So Command does have a texting option, but it's not from your phone number. It's from a different phone number. So until they integrate it coming from my phone number, this is the way that I can text a whole bunch of people very, very quickly, use my forward questions. Hey, how you doing? It's with my A pluses, my A's, and my B's. Everybody
What
else.
did you,
And then
what was it called?
Reach, REACH. Let's
Thank
see,
you.
the little icon looks like it looks almost like your text button, except it has an R in the middle of it. So your little bubble there has an R, and it's green and white. It's $5 a month. It's unlimited texts. So you can limit, you can text 5 people or you can text a bazillion. I
Awesome,
use it
thank you.
for family. I use it for friends. Anytime I belong to some networking groups, I belong to some service groups, and I do all my texting through there, and it comes from me and my phone number, and it will put their name in if you want it to put their name in, all of that. And so for $5 a month, I think that's great than me having to copy paste, or have them get a phone number from command, even though it says it's from Emily and they can reply to it and it gets to me. Then they start trying to call that phone number and it doesn't get to me. And so this was just an easier workaround for that piece of it. But that was one of my goals, was to communicate more effectively with my sphere, and to get that really set in stone by 2021, so that people do hear from me, but yet I don't have to make all the phone calls, and I still get referrals from my database and how to keep them engaged. Sometimes it's that lovely little meme of, hey, it's Monday and we're the crazy cat people on Monday. But other times it's, hey, we're having an event. I don't text my database every single day. I'm very choosy. I have it under that DTD2. I have it split out that way as well. So if I'm only talking to my A's and W's on that week, there's a text only going out to A's and W's. And then the next week, it's only going out to the B's and E's. So the only time everybody gets a message is if I'm having an event, or if they're in a certain play group or women's group or exercise group, and I'm talking to them specifically. But do not over text as well. So don't do that. But be careful and be timely about it, and just be consistent. If it's not on the calendar, it's not consistent. It doesn't get done. So time blocking those big rocks. So making sure, again, identifying what those big rocks really mean. So if lead gen is this 2.5 hour monster of a block, what's actually in those 2.5 hours? Is it, calling the A's and W's if you're doing the DTD2? If you don't know what DTD2 is, it's basically calling 2 letters of the alphabet every single week. And so that means you would get through your alphabet in 13 weeks. And you would be able to get through it in, 4 times a year, or every quarter. So that's the way to get your 4 calls into your entire database. I'm more than happy to share the DTD2. There's a class you can take on it if you want to, but essentially it comes down to that. And I think they actually have a texting, like what numbers to text and call. If you want to call people one week, but text a couple other numbers the same week, you can call and then text and so forth. I do make calls, but they are more calls of, hey, how you doing? Is it COVID? Is COVID affecting you guys? Do you need any help? How can I help you? It's not necessarily always asking for business. Sometimes it comes up to that because, well, how's the housing market? Are you guys still staying busy? Yeah, we're still staying busy. Thank you for your referrals that you've given us in the past. Thank you for your business. We really appreciate that. That's what helps us grow. But I'm not inundating people with, who do you know to buy or sell real estate in 2021? Again, that question might get asked once out of those 4 phone calls, but it's not happening every single time. That would just drive me nuts. And I'm not that type of salesperson. And it's okay if you are that type of salesperson that works for you. That's awesome. That's just not my personality. So making sure your big rocks are exactly what they are. So if you have a social media rock, what does that mean? Does that mean on Sunday you're going into command and planning all your posts and getting it done in an hour? Or are you doing a post a day and spending 1.5 hours on a post a day because you want it to look just right and just, have the video just perfect? And that could be your personality, and that's great. For me, I need to be more efficient. So on Monday morning at 5 a.m., I make all of my posts. Some are original, some are videos, some aren't. Some are just lovely little memes, and they get scheduled for Monday through Sunday. And then the next week, Monday morning, 5 a.m., I'm making my next one. It takes me about maybe an hour, if that, to set it and forget it. If you want to do that for all 30 days of the month, you could totally do that and just have one day that you are just, you know, making those posts, scheduling them. Command's fabulous at it. It's free, you know, make your post, make sure have your business Facebook page looking good there. So what are some of your big rocks? What do you feel like are your big rocks in real estate? Anybody have any big rocks in real estate? I know Stephen and Desiree you do, but anybody?
Trying to still be a real estate agent in 2022.
Exactly. That's always a good one. That's a great one. Anybody else have some big rocks that are a daily big rock? Well, if we don't know what those big rocks are, we'll start talking about them. All right, this video did not work last time. I'm gonna cross my fingers it works this time. If it does, awesome. If it doesn't, I will give you the, let's see if it will do what it's supposed to do. No, it didn't. All right, let's see if I can share. Talk amongst yourselves for about 2 minutes here. And I'm gonna see if I can see if you guys can tell me some more big rocks that you guys have going on. I mean, even just talking to yourselves, you don't even have to ask me, but just tell us about the big rocks that you do daily. What's your 20% things that have to get done every single day? And I know one for me is, you know, family time. So I have 3 kids, and it's not a daily thing, it's more of a monthly thing, but on my kids' birthday or their unbirthday, they get either a special call from me, they get an outing with me. It's some way that we can connect that they have. So every 5th of the month is my daughter Amy, every 13th of the month is my son Noah, every 16th of the month is my daughter Violet, and we do it can be little somethings, it can be big somethings, it just kind of depends on the month. All right, we're gonna see if I can share this guy here.
Never use Ziploc bags again with this clever new invention. The product was created by an award-winning chef. She was tired of expensive ingredients spoiling, so she decided to join a star product designer to create a revolution.
Can you guys hear this?
Oh, hello there. Brett McKay from the artofmanliness.com. Caught me in the middle of an experiment. Do you guys ever feel like you're busy all day? You're answering email, you feel busy, but at the end of the day, you feel like you didn't accomplish anything. Well, there's a reason why you feel like that, and I'm going to do a little object lesson or experiment to show you why that is. We're going to say that this jar represents your life or your calendar or your schedule. And the way most people go about their life is they fill it up first with stuff that's not very important. And that's going to be represented by this water. So this is like surfing the internet, checking out Reddit, checking out BuzzFeed. Don't do that anymore. Quit checking BuzzFeed. Stuff that adds really no value to your life. And then what they do is they do stuff that's a little bit more important, that has some value, but really not much. And that's represented by this sand. So this is, answering some work email that really could have been answered, done over the phone in 5 minutes, but it's turned into 50 different emails. This is like when you're doing research on the internet, but then you somehow end up back at those time-wasting sites. So that's the sand. And then we start doing stuff that's, a little bit more important, but not all that important. That's represented by this gravel. So this could be probably a lot of busy work that a lot of people do. All right. So it's stuff that has some value, but not all that much. And then you realize, man, I haven't done anything. I've been really busy, but I haven't got any work done. I got to focus on those really important things. So you try to cram those big rocks in. Those big rocks represent the most important things in your life. It could be things like family, it could be your health, your spirituality. It could also be tasks in work or in class that will bring you closer to your goal. So you try to cram that into your calendar or your schedule. You quickly realize there's no room in your calendar because you filled it up with all this other stuff that's not really important, and you don't have room for the important stuff. But here's the catch. With just a bit of rearrangement and some prioritization, you would have been able to fit all of the most important tasks, your big rocks, and all of this into your calendar and schedule. Don't believe me? I'll show you. All right, so we got a new schedule. This time, instead of filling up our schedule, metaphorical schedule, with the dumb stuff first, we're gonna put the most important things and put those in first. So we're gonna put the big rocks in. Now this is gonna be different for every person, what those big rocks are. If you wanna be a writer, for example, you should set aside time to write. That'd be a big rock. If you're a dad, setting aside time for family time would be a big rock. Working out, exercising would be a big rock. And you would treat these things basically like a doctor's appointment on your calendar. Like you would block it off, and if someone wants to do something during that time, you tell them sorry, or I already got something going on, even if that is working out. It's just whatever is really important, you want to make sure that you get done. You schedule that first. Then after that, you can start putting in some of those, filling in the gaps with the stuff that's not really important, but just a little bit important. Things like work emails. There you go. And of course, you'll need to rearrange things sometimes. So you did some of the stuff that's not too important, but still needs to be done. But you still have room. You still have time for some of that fun stuff that's just mindless. So go ahead, after you've done your big rocks, done the stuff that's sort of important, you can do some bit of mindless web surfing. Put some more in there. Still got plenty of room. Let it sift through. Okay. And here's the thing. There's still room for more. I mean, we could probably put more sand in here. Some more fun stuff. It's really heavy. We got the water. This is just like stuff, I don't even know what. It's like not important at all. All right, so as you can see, we're able to fit in a lot more, including the big rocks. And the key was we had to put the big rocks in first. So my challenge to you this week is, as you sit down with your calendar and plan out your week, and if you're not planning, I definitely recommend you start doing that. Find out what your big rocks are. What are the most important things that you need to be doing? Again, if you want to be a writer, a big rock would be setting aside time for writing. If you want to be a musician, setting aside time for deliberate practice on whatever instrument it is that you're doing would be a big rock. Family is a big rock. Health is a big rock. At work, you're going to have different big rocks that are going to pop up every week. The key is, though, is you do those first. Do those first. And as you do that, you're going to find that you're going to be more productive, more effective, and you'll have time for everything else in life. Those emails, those phone calls, those network meetings, it's all going to be able to fit in there, but you have to do the big rocks first. So that's a challenge to you. Until next time, this is Brett McKay telling you to stay manly.
All righty.
Including the big rocks. And the key was we had to put the big rocks in first. So my challenge to you this week is, as you...
All right, so we had to put the big rocks in first. So some of those big rocks for me personally in my business are, of course, we had that lead gen. So I have to make sure that my big rocks are those calls. You know, who am I going to call or contact with, or what group am I contacting with that day? You know, or how am I contacting with my groups that day or that week? It's also my family. So did I do all the grocery shopping this weekend so I can have an easy dinner tonight? Or am I going to run around with chicken with my head cut off and be miserable when I finally do sit down for dinner and everyone scarfs it in 5 minutes? And then I'm like, you know, you can make those big rocks happen in a very organized way if you choose. Other big rocks, am I, doing my education, did I get my CECs done for my real estate this month? Those are going to be one of the big rocks. If you do, one class a month, you'll have all your classes done, in plenty of time. Are you planning events? Are you, doing the paperwork and the emails that have to get done, but do they have to get done at 9 a.m. when you are probably your freshest and brightest and are okay to call people? Or are you, doing the emails and getting frustrated because someone didn't get the Benzer signed, someone hasn't had an addendum signed, the broker just said, hey, you're missing 4 different things to get paid today. All those things that you think, oh, I have to put all these fires out right now, but I usually don't check my email till about noon. I won't. If someone is on fire, they're going to call me and they're going to text me and I'll put it out at that point. But my emails are not going to hijack my morning of lead gen. It's really hard. I had to really practice that one a lot because my phone's right by my bed and I'm really good at picking up my phone and wanting to see exactly what's happening on it that minute. But if I can, do my morning routine, get up, do my exercise, do my meditation, read my books, talk to my kids before they go to school, that sort of thing. And then I can start sitting in my desk around 8 o'clock, get my script practiced in, and at 8:30 start either calling or, going to whatever group I need to go to that day. Those are my big rocks. That's my 20%. And then all the other emails and texts and, whatever else would fill our day, the Pinterest of like, what am I going to show this week or how I'm going to do an event in COVID and getting your ideas for that, or showing people houses in the afternoons. Yeah, sometimes I'll show houses in the morning, but that just means my day flipped. So then I have my lead gen time in the afternoon. I don't forget about my lead gen time. It just moves and you have to purposely move it and still make it happen that day. So even if, like I said, if you have someone that flew in from California late the night before and said, hey, Emily, I need to see houses. I want to see these 5 houses tomorrow morning. Sure, that's fine. But I'm not going to just skip my lead gen time, because whatever happens this month is reflected in February. So if I did a crappy job at lead gen in December, my February will look like crap. So it'll be ghost town instead of my 6 to 8 deals. That is my goal this year. So yeah. And if in November, my January isn't as full as I need to be, then in December, I really have to kick some butt and get into gear and making sure I'm getting those leads for buyers and sellers so that I can have some other closings in January. Because if you're looking at January right now, you're already too late. So just understand that it's that 60 to 90 days out that you have to be thinking in. On that. All right. Any questions on big rocks and how all that works?
I thought that was a great analogy.
Yeah, it's really true. Stephen Covey is the first person I saw do it. And then this guy did a really good rendition of it. So besides having your weekly, anybody else want to talk about big rocks or how to get through it all or how to delete some of the not so great things in our lives that we clutter it up with? I mean, it's being very purposeful is what it all comes down to. Because you can twiddle your thumbs at your desk, or you can say, you know what, I don't have anyone in my database. I am going to go on a walk and stay 6 feet apart, but I'm going to, if I see someone and I want to start a conversation, I'm going to start a conversation and just see where it goes. And you don't even have to talk about real estate, but you can start that conversation. And it generally always comes around to, what do? You're walking in the middle of the afternoon. What job do you have? Those are some great things. Or you're like, you know what, screw it. I'm going to go door knock. I'm going to figure out a way and door knock. For me, door knocking has never been an easy thing for me to do. The only times I've door knocked is when I feel like I could give them something. And so typically when I do open houses, I will do a food drive with my open houses so that when I circle prospect or door knock in that neighborhood, I'm asking them to bring food donations to my open house. And then I'll ask them, why do you like your neighborhood? So when I have people come through to tell them the great things about this neighborhood, what would you say? Some of those things. And then of course, asking them to come over and so that if they have any friends or family that would love to live in their same neighborhood, they can actually, see the house and we can FaceTime them through and yada, yada, yada. So making sure that you're just being very purposeful. And when something's not happening, you have a backup plan. So if the calls aren't working, if the emails aren't working, if the social media is not working, what do I do next? How do I make my database grow if it's not happening? So part of that is being accountable. So this group here, this Ignite group, this is part of accountability. So accountability is an approach and an attitude. It's not to be, not for someone to come judge you. Oh, you didn't get that done. Shame on you. Feel guilty, feel bad. That's not what accountability is supposed to be for. It's supposed to, yeah, did you do your stuff? And if you didn't, why didn't you? What came up? What fear, what mindset block, what monkey on your back came up and, stole your time? What happened there? And some of them are going to be legitimate. I had to take my husband to the hospital, or my kid got sick and my whole day was just screwed up because my kid got sick and I had to be home with my kid. Totally good. Totally fine. It's God family business, so those things do happen. But sometimes the accountability is, yeah, I binge watched The Crown all weekend and I didn't do anything. I binge watched, whatever. Or, I had a fight with my significant other and we were just mad at each other all weekend and I downward spiraled and I stayed in bed all weekend, whatever it may be, just be true to it, but it is an attitude and an approach. And it's also a tool to measure results. Because if you're not measuring something, you have no idea how it happened. That's what I'm learning with my coach. She's like, Emily, so how many appointments did you go on this year? And I went, what? I don't know how to do that. What are you talking about? I work by referral. So I had to really think about, how many appointments did I go on and not get? And I told her 0. I was like, every appointment I went on, I got because it was a referral from my database. And she's like, really? And I had to really think about it because I was going through my listings and I'm like, well, actually there's probably 2. It's not that I didn't get them. I just didn't get them this year. So they've been pushed off or they've been, put on, hold or whatever they are. They're in the pipeline. Will they stay true to me? Absolutely. They're in my database. I feed them, I grow them, but could they disappear? They could, so that was a missed opportunity for this year. So there were a couple of appointments like that, but it did take me a little bit because I guess she was like, Emily, I know you didn't get 100%. That's just not possible. And in my head, I'm like, well, why isn't it possible? Anyway, it came up that there were a couple of them that didn't actually come through. And the buyers ones were very similar because the buyers, it's such a buyer's market that it was very rare that I had a buyer that did not end up buying with me. I had one buyer out of the 32 deals that we did, and not all 32 were buyers, but like 80% of them were buyers, but only one didn't complete a buyer's process with me. And that was just because he got scared and it was his first time buying a home. And he's like, I'm going to push it off to 2021. So it's not like it's not going to happen. It just didn't happen this year. But, finding those numbers, being accountable to those numbers. I now have a goal of appointments I'm supposed to have every week and trying to make sure that happens. But you set goals, you do the key activities and you measure. You have to measure so you can evaluate the process and see where it needs to change. The thing about this one, it's in a circle. So as you see, it's this way. But what I like to think of it is this arrow here actually kind of goes, oops, wrong direction. Actually kind of goes out and we go into a different spiral because it's a different goal. It's a new goal and it does change. And so it's not just the same circle of these same goals and set times and set this and set that, but it can change. And so then it'll shift and it'll be a higher circle. And so then you're going to be more efficient and you're going to have different goals and they're going to be more concise goals and you're going to work on it that way. So it's the new model. I think it's be, do. Instead, it used to be do, have, instead of now it's be, do, achieve, and that achieve gets us to that next level. And then you have to do the activities, have the results, and then achieve the next goal. And so it's more of a kind of a cyclone that goes up and up and up. So, but set goals, do the activities, measure the results, evaluate, and make adjustments. And sometimes that evaluate process, if you're doing that, my husband and I used to do it with each other. And I decided that if I wanted my marriage to last, I can't have him evaluating my progress. So I have a totally different person who I contact with. Yes, my husband and I come together every week and we set, what are your goals this week? How does that work for you? What's your schedule essentially? But he doesn't hold me accountable to my goals. At least that was what has kept our marriage for 22 years. And I hope it keeps it for 22 more. But the accountability process here is that you're going to share your goals, be them long, medium, short. You definitely want to make sure that you have those long-term goals, 3-year, 5-year, 10-year goals, what those look like. And then of course your 1-year GPS, and then breaking it down into your 411s. Plan your check-ins, how often, what method of communication. Is it just a quick text? Hey, did you get your 20 calls in today? No, I only got 18. Hey, well, that's better than 10. Whatever that needs to be. What I really encourage people is not to try to make it up the next day. Well, tomorrow I'll do 22. No, just scratch it. You did 18 today. Awesome. Tomorrow do 20. Keep up with the goals that you set for yourself. And if you came short, that's what happened today. Tomorrow's a new day. Don't try to start compounding it, because then by the end of the week, you're like, I got to do 75 calls today. And you just it becomes overwhelming. And make a date when and where you'll meet to check in. So if you're meeting on Zoom, or if you're texting or FaceTiming, I really encourage people at least once a week to FaceTime with their accountability partner or their coach or whoever that person is. You can text daily, like, hey, my daily appointments were this, the 4 conversations, who did I have appointments with? Who did I make calls to? How many contracts did I take? How many listing, how many buyer contracts, how many seller contracts, those are just real easy numbers to, shoot over to somebody. And then at least once a week, have that face-to-face to figure out, why did I come short in this? Or even if I give all my best efforts, it was just that week, I hit all my numbers. I made all my calls. I did all the activities that said I was going to get X and I didn't get X. And that will happen because sometimes it just takes time and effort and consistency to keep those same numbers, those same goals to reap the benefits. That was what was super frustrating for me my first couple of years in real estate. So I'm like, I am hitting all the things that they said to do, and I'm still not doubling what I did last year. So it's been this different process for me and my husband. We've had very successful years all the way through. But this year's been the most consistent and the best year we've had yet. And it did double. So it's like, okay, so how did that happen? And I think it's just because we finally have become the most consistent we have been in our schedule, in our goals. And it's not just, well, I did it this week, I didn't do it this week. I did it this week, I didn't do that week. Or I did some of them, but I didn't write those pesky little notes or whatever. But just being able to measure what happened and how it happened. All right. Here's where we get to all talk about what we've learned so far. So we're going to take a break after this for just like 10 minutes. So just tell me some ahas that have come up so far today. How's your thinking changed? How do you feel differently about this? Any actions you might want to take, any tools that maybe you haven't been using that you do want to use, anything like that. So thinking, feeling, actions, tools. What do we got? Any aha?
Well, I feel me and Steven have a lot of the same big rocks, but really putting that time in and like actually visualizing, because we're very visual too. We have the thing behind us, so we've been trying to get a set schedule, but those big rocks are, workout, family time, get the kids ready. And then by that time, do Ignite. And then after that, we're like, okay, now we have to do our lead generation. But we really need to block that time out and get focused on it. And I think this is helping me really realize how I need to write it and stick to it. And then it'll progress forward to where I need to be.
And absolutely. And the great thing about the husband-wife team is you can tag team. So if you didn't get all your lead gen done, hopefully he did, or vice versa. Because if you have family and kids and everything else, it's a little crazy. And I felt like the first year to couple of years, I was like, well, I'm kind of like a part-time person. Now I'm a half-time person. And now I've gotten it to where I'm basically full-time. My kids are getting older. I can figure it out a little bit better. those kinds of things. But yeah, just making sure it happens and that it's on the calendar, because if it's not on the calendar, it doesn't exist. And being able to say no when it's not on your calendar and it doesn't fit in, that's probably the biggest thing I've had to do, because I am very guilt ridden when someone calls me and says, hey, can you help me pick up my kids from X, Y, or Z? Because I know your kid is somewhere else too. And I'm like, no, actually I have someone picking up my kid today because I have to be doing what I'm doing. So being okay with saying no is huge on that schedule front too. Anybody else? Any different ways of thinking, different action plans, tools, or feelings?
I think just organizing and scheduling the calendar into time blocks is going to be a big thing for me, making sure that I'm getting done my rocks and big rocks.
Absolutely. Yep. Figure out what your big rocks are. What's that 20% that's going to make 80% of your business work more better? That's not the right English, sorry. What's going to make it better?
Right.
One thing that, if you haven't read The One Thing, it's a great book that Gary Keller has put out. It's the one thing that will make life easier, better if I just do this one thing. More fulfilled. All right, so it's 10 o'clock. Let's have everyone, or it's 10:02. Let's have everyone come back at 10:12. So take a break, grab a drink, make a call, whatever you need to do. And we'll see you back here in about 10 minutes.
Who's teaching?
We must be on a break today.
Yeah, we are.
Okay, you have about 1 more minute. Otherwise, if you have any questions or want to pick my brain, you're welcome to. Not much brain there this morning to pick. No, I'm just kidding.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah,
Am I breaking out?
That's better. Whatever you
Yay!
do.
I found Wi-Fi. I connected to Wi-Fi.
Yeah, perfect. That's awesome.
I figured out the password, so we have signal now.
Oh, very good. Yeah, you sound crystal clear. Awesome.
Awesome. Okay.
I'm a visual person, and we'll talk a little bit before everyone gets back on, or maybe everyone's here and they just don't want to show their pearly faces. But so I have one whiteboard that is basically, my pipeline. So I have buyers on one side, listings on the others. I usually have a date, that I think they're going to buy, and making sure that I'm talking to those people either once a month or once a week and keeping in charge of that. I have other whiteboards that are actually tracking the transactions. So in escrow right now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we have 7 in escrow right now. And it just has the address and then everything that needs to be done, little boxes that they're checked. Did I get it under review? Is it, have the spuds been signed? Is the clue in the file? When's the Benzer due? Has the LSU been put in? Has the green sheet been submitted so that we get paid? Have I sent that DA to title? Because even though the green sheet DA might be in my loop, did I send it to title? I love that email. Would you like to get paid? We'd love to have that commission instruction. So I'm like, oh yeah, that has to get done. Has the final walkthrough been done? When's the close of escrow? And did I get paid? So I have that on one whiteboard. I bought Office Max or Depot or whatever it's called now. They had clearance, like these little, like small ones. They're probably maybe 12 by 12s or something like that. But they're calendar ones. And so I have 4 calendar months so that I can just start, when, what's in the pipeline, what's going under contract, just timelines wise. So I can see, I can turn here and go, okay, I have 3 in January. I need 3 more in January. Crap, what am I going to do? And I can see, okay, I have 2 in February already. And then, so I have 4 months that way. So again, I use whiteboards all the freaking time. That's just my way to organize. Some people can do those in Excel sheets. My coach gave me this beautiful Excel sheet that I probably will never use because I won't go into it, but my husband will. And so I'll now have to put it in the Excel sheet so that he can have it on Excel and I can basically have it on my whiteboards. So again, it's just totally just different ways people work. In the spring masterminds session they did in November, they talked about this book called The 12-Week Year. And it's something that Eric and I are going to be trying to follow our best with. So basically having pretty massive goals every quarter. And so of course, what did I do? I made a new whiteboard that has 12 blocks in it for my 12-week year, making sure I have goals in those ones. Because they challenged us to get your 2021 goals by June 30th. So I'm like, okay, we have some pretty massive goals. I mean, if I were to even become, 80% of that goal by June 30th, I'd be super happy. So, there's different ways to motivate yourself. And the 12-week year is a really great one. So if it's a book you haven't read before, if you have read it, always be reading. My husband and I joke about, you're most likely the 5 people you hang around, and we hang around books the most. So we think, okay, well, we have great mentors because we read all these books and we talk to all these people and things like that. But you really are the 5 people you hang around the most. So if you aren't, actually friends with people who are mega agents or doing those things that you aspire to do, please be reading the books by those people, or read everything that you can, so that can be your coaches and your mentors as well. Or listen to the podcast if you're not a huge reader, or Audibles or whatever. My newest favorite book, I've got to find where I put it because I took it on vacation with me. It's basically What to Say and How to Say It. It's a really quick read. Well, I'll just read it off my Audible so I can get the title right. So I'm now walking and listening to this book almost daily. And then I have the actual book to like highlight things to say. But the book is called it's called Exactly What to Say. I mean, and it's a short Audible. It's like 2 hours. It's like a $5 book off of Amazon, but it's some amazing little hooks and things to say. You know, so when you are selling and things like that, it's pretty fantastic. Okay. Well, we don't have much more to the actual class PowerPoint wise. So we will do some script practicing after this. So I'm going to share my screen here, get back to the PowerPoint because I tend to talk super fast. So we did get through quite a bit in the short time we've been together. So that's one thing that's great is we'll have more time to do some script practices. So basically just to kind of, again, recap and ahas and all that, Kayla did send out a PDF this morning. Basically it had a 411 in it. So if you aren't using a 411, there is a 411 in there. It gave you like a week view of like what you need to put into your week. So if you haven't figured out, you know, what your big rocks are, what your week should look like, those kinds of things, it's a great time to start putting those in. Even if you are like, Emily, I have 10 people in my database, I haven't done a deal, I don't even know where to begin. It's always starting with the database. So getting into Command, putting your phone into Command, start making notes, you know, make Command look as clean as possible. Does everyone have an address? Does everyone have a phone number? Does everyone have a birthday? You know, if they don't have any of those, it's a great reason to call them. Hey, I don't know if you know this, but I became a realtor the last couple of months, and I would love to know if you'd be okay with me sending you an email once a month. It's going to be just a quick snapshot of what your neighborhood's doing, so you'll always know, you know, what your neighborhood's worth. And I would love just to get your address so I can make sure that it gives you the right neighborhood, yada, yada. And then we also send cards out on birthdays. Would love to send you a card on your birthday. What's your birthday? You don't have to give me the year if you don't want to, you know, stuff like that. Those are calls I can make all day. It's calls that are asking people to buy and sell real estate with me that I don't like at all, but I can ask those kinds of questions easily. But then again, business always seems to come up. So it's always good that way. And I think the last, let's see, I just had this email up. The other thing on that PDF was, let's see, had the 411, oh, the 80%, you know, talking about your big rocks, and then went into the weekly objectives. And then it had a little worksheet on creating accountability. So going through that worksheet, finding that partner, and that partner doesn't have to be a realtor. Right now it can be Dan. He's amazing. He's your productivity coach. And so you should be hopefully going to the 8 o'clock ramp up and scripts with him, doing those script practices, working out problems that you may be having in deals. It's great to learn from all the people in there. I pop in there every once in a while. I'm usually in there like maybe once a week or something, just to script practice and to get to know other agents. Especially like I was out of town this week and I was able to text Dan, hey Dan, give me some agents that might be able to help show a house this weekend for me. So I like to know all the new agents as well. So anyway, that accountability person, again, it doesn't have to be a realtor. It could be a friend that you know. It could be a spouse if you want to endanger your marriage that way. I mean, if you have that relationship with your spouse, and that's a good thing. Anything of that sort, again, it can be Dan as well. Every once in a while, I'll send Dan my 411 just to be accountable, you know, just to say, hey, this is what I'm doing this week. Check in with me and see if I'm doing it. Or I'll send it to Jay, and who's our team lead, and see if, you know, and he'll check in with me. And then the last page was what we just went over a little bit, is those thinking, actions, tools, and feelings of what can I do? What's the one thing I can do from this activity that will make everything easier on the other side? And if I were to choose one thing from this activity, it's to time block. If you can live by a schedule, even if it's a loosey-goosey schedule, but the time blocks are in there and you kind of have an idea of what that big rock represents in that time block, that is going to save your life in real estate. You don't want to be the realtor that is struggling to get one deal a month. You want to be the realtor that is struggling to fit in the 6 or 7 deals, and how can I fit in one more, that sort of thing. Eric and I still don't have a TC or an admin assistant at this point. That's probably something we'll incorporate this year. The first 2 years, I was basically the admin assistant, so I know the paperwork inside and out, and so I have a real hard time letting go of control of that one. So it's anyway, I feel like I'm doing double the work anyway. So I'm like, if I have to email it to them, I can just put it in the loop. And anyway, but they do catch things that I don't always catch. So if you want to use a TC, they're not that expensive. If paperwork is not your forte, definitely get a TC. They'll definitely help you on those kinds of things. All right, so goals. This is what my husband did to create that 6-figure salary that very first year, is he followed this to a T. And then he went to bold, and basically all those numbers get doubled in bold when we had real bold. They actually get doubled in the online version of bold as well. But your contacts a day, your conversations, contacts added and conversations a day, again, 2 different things. Contacts that you can actually add into your database. Conversations are people that you might have nurtured in your database. Maybe they're new people that you talk to. But those are 2 different things. So it could be the same number, because I mean, maybe your 10 conversations are with 10 new people and you can add all 10 people into your database. Great. Sometimes they're not, because sometimes you have a conversation with someone and you might have handed them your card, but you did not get any of their information. That's why I don't hand out cards anymore. It's like, hey, I have an electronic one. Can I text it to you? You know, so that's one way to do it. Handwritten notes, super important to do those handwritten notes. My goal is always 2 a day. So 10 for the week. And then make sure you're previewing homes. If you can't preview and go out to homes because of COVID, some of the nice things about COVID is that we have a lot of virtual tours. So just make sure that you are solid, especially in your neighborhood and the neighborhoods around you. Become the beast of your neighborhood, that you know everything, that you're the master of your neighborhood, because then people will definitely list with you, buy with you, because you are, you know, the guru of your neighborhood. If you don't know your neighborhood, you're doing a disservice to yourself and to your neighbors. And it's a great time to get to know your neighbors if you don't know your neighbors. Even if you're, you know, maybe you're a renter, you know, that's okay. Maybe your whole street is renters. Fabulous. This is a great time to not be a renter anymore. So talking to your neighbors, maybe you live in an apartment complex or condos, townhouses, whatever. It's a great time to get to know those neighbors and, you know, and educating them on how to be able to buy a house in 2021 or 2022, you know, introducing them to your lender of choice. Maybe they have crappy credit. That lender can tell them or help them, you know, figure out the way to make their credit better, so that you can be. And so be that person of service with them. How many of you are able to do these during Ignite? Is anyone being super consistent in, you know, making 10 contacts a day or adding 10 people to their database a day?
Trying really hard. It's not always easy, but I'm getting more proficient at it.
Good. I mean, that's the thing, is like, even if it's 1 or 2, just that consistency of adding to the database, having those conversations every single day. It's an uncomfortable, awkward conversation. Yes. When someone says, hey, did you do 10? No, I did 1 or I did none, because I didn't want to, didn't know how to. I got too busy, because the only thing I can do is do Ignite, and then I have to do my other part-time job or my full-time job. You know, that's totally understandable. But definitely, if you want to have success in real estate, this is what you have to do. These are your rocks. In your lead gen, those are your rocks. And so if you're not having those conversations today because it is COVID, call your mom, call your sisters. Those are people that live maybe not in Tucson, but maybe live somewhere else. They might know someone that needs a realtor in their area, and you can give them one, because Keller Williams has tons of people all the way around. So you can have conversations with people that aren't in Tucson that can get you where you want to go to. So, and no, you can't call your mom every single day and count it as a conversation, unless she's giving you somebody new. I don't know. But, you know, getting permission to call those people. And again, making sure that you follow the do not call list. So if you are doing cold calls or trying just to call down the quote unquote phone book of choice or expireds or whatever, making sure that you are not getting yourself in trouble on that one. Okay. Any questions on these big rocks and how to do them and anything like that?
I do have a question about the do not call list.
I will
Is
try to
there
answer it, and if not, I will send you to someone that does know how to answer it.
okay. So I don't know where to access that information.
Market Center has that information. So front desk, Kayla, Jay, Big Dan, all of those guys, because everyone in my database I have permission to call, I usually don't have to deal with that. That's why I like doing stuff by referral, because I've already asked permission to call them. And don't just add someone, like if you have a church directory or something, don't just start calling your church directory. I mean, unless you're calling them just about, or even a networking group directory, you know, call them, have a conversation with them. If business comes up, say, hey, would you mind if I add you to something? But always ask permission, even if it's your best friend, ask permission. So, I mean, everyone in my database, I have permission to contact. And anybody that they give me, I always ask them, well, you know, text them, let them know that I'll be calling. And if I get that permission and that text, I usually have them put me on that text. Hey, Mrs. Smith, this is my friend Emily. She's an awesome realtor. I know you had a question about what your home was worth. She'll be contacting you later this week. You know, get that introduction, and you usually don't have to worry too much about the do not call list. But if you are calling, just cold calling people, definitely talk to the Market Center and how to scrub your list. Any other questions on these big rocks? If you didn't know what big rocks were, those are them. Oh, one thing about notes that I remember in a night a long time ago, someone's like, well, I don't know, you know, do I have to write a thank you note? And it's like, you don't have to write a thank you note. It can just be I was thinking of you note. You know, it doesn't even have to be about a conversation you had that day or anything like that. It's just, if you can get in the habit of showing gratitude through writing a note, it's really going to make your focus and your mindset just better. So writing those notes, being grateful to people, even if it has nothing to do with real estate. But if you had a great conversation and you did enjoy that conversation, then yeah, hey, Mrs. Smith, I had a great conversation with you today. Thank you so much. Like I said, I'll be touching base with you in a couple of weeks. Looking forward to our next conversation. And then you've already set them up of, oh, they're going to contact me again. All right, scripts. Anybody have any scripts that they want to learn, internalize, personalize? We have half an hour. I don't mind ending early, but this is actually a great learning time to help build confidence and speak in terms that people understand, so that you're not talking on realtor level when you need to be talking on everyday Joe level. Any objections or things that people are working through if they have any deals going on right now, or conversations to try to get deals to go on now? So this is our last 30 minutes. And if Dan wants to jump back in, he's more than welcome to help us with script practicing, because he's the guru of script practicing every single morning. What do we got? Anybody have any objections they want to see how we should handle?
So I'm listing 2 houses of my own this week.
Awesome.
And they're occupied by tenants, right? So I don't really have access to show them so much without an appointment. So, right. You know, these are my first 2 deals. I'm new realtor, and I want to make sure I maximize, you know, the number of potential buyers that I can harvest from this. That's sort of the whole reason to get this going. So if you have any suggestions there on how to, you know, in this COVID environment, and I can't really have open houses, how to generate the most leads for myself from this, so, and a sale, of course.
Yeah. So first question is, how long are the leases in place, and do they have to fulfill the lease before they could be owner occupied? I can't hear you. You're muted.
Both tenants have 30-day notice. I gave to them at the end of November, so they have to be out on January 1.
Okay, so and they were going month to month, and there's no problem with
Correct.
the 30-day notices, correct?
Yeah,
Okay.
they're already past their first lease, so they're just month to month now.
Okay. So that's great. One. Two, and you're going to be able to do pictures and all of that.
Yeah, I have some photographs up, but not really so much to the inside. I mean, they're pretty simple houses, but if you recommend that I do like a video tour, I think Dan said I should go do that. Just kind of do a, here's the living room, dining room, kitchen, and bedrooms. But
yeah, if you can get permission to get in there, get as many pictures as you can, and hopefully they're at least somewhat decent. They're not like total disaster areas. If they are, I wouldn't put pictures up. I would just say tenant occupied. We'll have it cleaned and we'll have better pictures up January 4. But the biggest thing you can do is you can still do open houses. But what I would do is I'd say we are going to have showings, or you can basically ask your tenants, what's a day and a time that no one will be home? Like if they're working all the time or they don't have kids or something, is there a time that there's 4 hours that anybody could come by and it would be okay? So you can always put that in your listing. Hey, Tuesdays from 10 to 4, more than welcome to do any types of showings, or you could have open houses on those days. So it's just talking to those, the people in there. And if they are willing to do that, if they aren't willing to do that, then basically tenant occupy, we need 48-hour notice, yada, yada, yada. And all that.
Have to show them individually. Yeah.
Right. But for a lot of rental ones that I've done, if you can find that day and you're just like, hey, it's only available on Tuesdays and Thursdays, 10 to 2. We'll take all offers up to this point, especially if they're, depending on the price point, if they're in that, sweet market between 150 and 250 or something, hopefully it would be gone within, 2 or 3 days.
Yeah. I think these are both 210, range. So they're probably going to go fast midtown.
Yeah. So, I mean, if they're in that range, you may not need a whole lot of anything besides that, but people probably, I mean, especially when you're starting to do inspections and things like that, because they still have to have that 48 notice, you're going to have to do longer inspection periods, that sort of thing. I would just tell people that are giving the offers, make sure your inspection periods are 14 days because we have to schedule it with X, Y, or Z.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like I said, you can schedule open houses or open times, but that would be my only suggestion on that one, and just price it right so you don't have to deal with it that long.
Yeah, it's probably going to be tough just because most of the people showing up are either going to be investors or going to have a realtor working with them on the buy side. So, but I guess I could go around the neighborhood and put out a card to everybody and just say, hey, the house is for sale. If you're interested, let me know, kind of thing, so I can develop the neighborhood a little bit more. That's the only thing.
If you're wanting to own that neighborhood and be the realtor of choice in that neighborhood, absolutely. And just
not really, but
don't do that. But you can do coming soon. So make sure you do a coming soon, because then you can get to know, and you can have it. Yeah, then you can have it sold before it even gets on market.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Nope. Sounds like you're doing all the right things. Awesome. Anybody else have any questions about deals that are coming up, or how to have that conversation with someone in your database? Where, Christian, where are the two houses? Are they 3.2s? What are their specs on it anyway?
1.6 near Speedway in Alvernon. Excuse me.
Okay.
Sort of north of Speedway and west of Alvernon.
Okay.
The pricing over there, I mean, houses have been going quickly, and no, it's like they're 2-bedroom, 1-bath bungalows, but they both have R2 lots behind them that are rented to a trucking company. So the houses also get income, which is a plus for an individual buyer, because there's enough income there to pay all the utilities easily on both of them.
Yeah.
And they're basically they're just parking trucks back there. So it's not like you have living, you just have people picking up the trucks in the morning, going out and coming back in the evening and parking them. So, and they've been tenants for 20 years.
Nice.
It's a good deal for somebody.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Anybody else? Questions, comments, concerns on how to run your real estate business? And I'm more than happy to meet anybody one-to-one, or if they want to do a Zoom call later with me and my husband. Again, Eric does more of the investing side, and then I do more of the retail side, but Eric's more than happy to talk to you as well. Pretty easy on that side of it. So
We get your
Tony,
contact information.
yeah, I'll put it in the chat. Tony, tell me a little bit about you. I didn't get to know you at the beginning of the call.
I'm a new agent. I've been doing this for about 5 months.
Awesome.
I'm with Danny's team, Danny Roth.
Oh, perfect.
So
Love
he's
Danny.
been a huge, great mentor for me. But
Nice.
yeah, I love going on these calls and trying to learn as much as I can. You know, that was the first thing I learned, was you learn something new every day. Every deal's different.
Yep.
And thank you so much for taking the time to share your knowledge with everybody. Really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Anybody others ahas from today that they want to talk about, or how to set up anything that you're wanting to set up? I'm someone that does a lot of events for my clients. So mine and my husband's email, phone number is in the chat. So if you do want to talk later, one-to-one, that's totally great. So, and then if anyone else has any creative COVID activities, I would love to hear them, because again, like I said, that's the way I like to contact my people the most, and where I feel like I give value is because they know that Emily's always around for a good time. It's going to be a safe time. They're going to have fun. We did private movie events the last several months that have been fun, because the Cinemark theaters will do, I think 20 people. Is it 20 people or 10 people? Anyway, in a theater for like $100, and that was fun. We went and saw a couple of movies in October, I think. And I've been doing some of my older clients who love like word games and things. I did a Boggle PowerPoint, and so we played like 6 games of Boggle for an hour with like 8 older clients. That was just totally fun, and got my ass handed to me a couple of times on that one, so that was great. So I think I know a lot of words, and then I don't. But I beat them sometimes too. But anyway, so there's just lots of different ways. Like I said, I'm doing a CPA, how to do your 2021 taxes event in January. We'll still do in February. We will still do our date night for February. So the whole week before Valentine's, I order heart-shaped pizzas and soda, or a cheap bottle of wine, and they can come pick it up. So it's a reverse pop by. Essentially, they come and pick it up from me, and they schedule it into 15-minute increments. And so I know exactly who's coming and when they're coming. So it's COVID safe and all that kind of stuff. So you can do reverse pop buys. You can get title companies and stuff to help subsidize some of those costs, so that usually doesn't cost me hardly anything. March, I'm still coming up with my thing for that month, and then every month I do pop buys. So I will leave stuff, or I will mail items of value to clients that don't want to be touched at all. I'll send those through the mail, but otherwise I'll pop by. I know I don't pop by, I actually schedule. I tell them, hey, I'm going to come by today. Do you have a good time for me to come by and say hi? Because lots of people are just asking for socialization, even though if they want you to stand 6 feet apart with your mask on. And I always say, hey, I can bring you some Clorox wipes. And, then they're like, oh yeah, come by. So anyway, any other scripts or tips or anything like that? Because again, I don't know if Dan's back on the call or not, but he might have some closing remarks that he wants to say. I'm not sure. I talk too fast. Anybody? Bueller?
It's not a problem.
Bueller? Let me see if Dan has anything he wants me to convey to you guys. Have you guys found the Ignite classes helpful? I always did. I actually did one in my second and a half year. I went to another one just to kind of see what everyone else is doing.
Yeah, they were extremely helpful.
All right, I'm just letting Dan know that I'm kind of finished with my part, but yeah, I mean, the more you can learn from these, the more things that you can add. Again, it can be overwhelming because every day seems to have something new you can add to your business. Keep it simple, but be willing to change things or add new things, or, you know, take something out and put something else in and try it. But, you know, just come up with your 5 referral sources, you know, how those are going to be. You have 3 main ones and you have 2 minor ones, and what those are is completely up to you. You know, it can be a networking group. It can be, of course, your sphere. It can be your church group. It can be a farm. If you want to farm, you can farm that through a mailer, or you can farm that through door knocking. You know, social media is also a passive one. So it just kind of depends on how you want your business to feed you, and then how effective that can be. Because if you are doing a referral based business and that's your main source, and you are touching them appropriately and in the right ways and often enough, but not too much, you should be getting at least 1 referral from every 6 people every single year. So take whatever numbers in your database and divide it by 6, which is a higher number than what Keller Williams says in general. But my database is 200 people, and it came up with 32 deals this last year, which is basically right on point with what it should have come. So if I need to double my business, I do have to have 400 people this next year. So I will be obviously expanding my database and being more mindful of saying, who do you know that might want that same email? Maybe doesn't want my services right now, but that might want that same snapshot of their community. And just really making it more about a service to them of being more knowledgeable about what's going on in their neighborhoods. I also made a directory this year of all the small businesses in that was on a certain Facebook group that I belong to. And so I made this really easy directory, but now it's a QR code that my clients can send to other people, and it spreads other people's small businesses. And now they're thanking me for, you know, business referrals. And so they're going to think of me more often. You know, you just do whatever you can do to add value to people. And plus it got me in front of a lot of other small businesses and, hey, how can I help you grow? And then they're like, well, how can I help you grow? I'm like, keep my cards around, you know, share this directory. It's because it has my name and logo blasted all over it. You know, just whatever you can do to find value in what speaks to you. I mean, every Wednesday morning from 9 to 11, I'm at the golfing range hitting balls with 6 other ladies. And I think they've given me at least a referral a month, every single month this year, because we just talk. So, you know, find what works for you and your family and your time and your interests. Like if you love gardening, get involved with the Tucson Garden Association and the community gardens and, you know, whatever. If you like, you know, if you like art, find different ways to do art. I have this gal who does Zoom arts, you know, the sipping art stuff. And I've picked up all the supplies and I've taken them to every person's house, and we've done a Zoom with the sipping art people. And that was fun, you know. So again, I'm definitely more event driven because I hate phone calls. But, you know, my husband on the other end, he's a callaholic, and he just makes calls after calls after calls, and his phone rings off the hook. So they both work. It's just whatever works best for you. All right, gang, I'm going to let you go 15 minutes early unless you have anything you want to talk about. I'll stay on. But everyone, thanks for coming. Hope you learned something, had a good day. And again, please feel free to reach out, pick my brain. Or if you have ideas, I'd love to hear them too, because I'm always learning from everybody. So have a great Monday.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome, welcome.
Oh, did we lose everyone?
I just left them. I just let them go.
Oh, okay.
Apologize.
That's okay. I was going to jump back in and do some contract work, but we can do that tomorrow.
Sorry.
How did I not get kicked out?
Because our teacher tomorrow bailed. So.
Sounds good. I think everyone just left on their own. I didn't kick anybody out.
Oh.
I just said, you can leave if you want to, or stick around and talk to me. And you're the only one that want to talk to me, Tony.
There we go.
Tony's awesome.
All right. Thanks, Dan, for the opportunity.
Oh, thank you for doing it, Miss Emily. If you hit end, it'll kill it all.
All right.